Morning, colleagues, and as Jans has said, I'll be talking about the importance of STEM among rural learners, a role of Vuwani Science Resource Centre. I'll start by introducing my Vuwani Science Resource Centre. Vuwani Science Resource Centre is a centre which is under the University of Venda. And the centre is part of the university flagship on community engagement. It's a flagship. Our duties are to engage learners, public, IKS holders, ECDs, the early childhood development, and other people who are available. And the center is just one of the center which is sitting in the middle of the communities. We are surrounded by about 4 secondary schools, 6 primary schools, which they come on a walking distance. And we are lucky to be a center under the university because the researchers from the university really comes and they engage with learners on different topics. From their research, careers, and all other things which learners need, we have that support. The center has been established in 2000, funded by the Xinex Foundation, which was the part one, and then the second phase was funded by the Department of Science and Innovation, former Department of Science and Technology. As a center, we engage more rural learners, and maybe I'll start by saying it's really pity sometimes what we go through when we engage learners. Like the recent Science Week, we travel to other areas where we are not located. And we really find out that there are learners who still continue to go to grade 12 without even knowing any science equipment. They don't do any experiments, and it's really painful to learn that, especially when you deal with rural learners. But as part of the International Year of Basic Science for Sustainable Development 2022, as a center, we have a mini documentation, which is from basic science for rural sustainable development. I'm inviting people to look at that documentation. But coming back to my presentation, I will be trying to answer why STEM awareness is important, especially in rural areas. For myself, I understand that giving learner an understanding of STEM, or science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, makes them to understand the world around them or the world around us, because now they can imagine what is happening on science and technology. They can be able to use some of the gadgets and understand some of the things which are happening in the world, looking at the food crisis, energy crisis. And then the engagement or the awareness of the STEM also makes us, or makes the learners to solve the challenge which the world is facing. And this goes when we engage them going to Science Expo, other engagement on science innovation, which we collaborate with other institutions where we do technology challenges, and learners do some experiment, do some other things to show that they really understand the challenges of the world. That will also come when I'm discussing further. Then I think the other things which we realize as a center, why it's important to do the awareness of STEM is the learners start to work in teams, and they also start to have communication with others. They start communication among themselves, they start communication among, to go to researchers to find out some solution of the problem they have, which then the engagement with learners and public at large enhance STEM awareness and communication in South Africa or in the world. Then it also allow people to be flexible, look for pattern and connection, and evaluate information. I think people who are doing awareness in different issues, they will know that when we talk to people, when we talk to learners, then they start to engage us on those information and start evaluation, and then they will be getting more ideas and trying to understand what is really happening, which is why the awareness of them is more important. And it raises social awareness and education awareness. And like during the COVID pandemics, people were doing awareness of the COVID. They were really engaging both public and learners to be aware of other things. And that was also a way of communicating and showing global issues to learners and to the public. Then as a center, what were our role? We really try to provide experience in science that are entertaining, interactive, hands-on, and relevant and understandable to learners. This is because we realize that, especially in rural areas where you go and find that there are schools without any science equipment, without any other things, and learners on those schools are doing science, then we have to show them the basics of science through exhibitions, doing some science show, and all this other relevant information which is needed. And as a center, we try by almost to do that. And also when we're trying that, as being in rural, we try also to identify the potential learners and nurture them so that at least they can follow the science careers. And when we do that, sometimes we also contribute to the women in science, where we have different researchers from different field of science going to rural schools and talk to the young female learners to follow science. And when they're talking to them, they also discuss more about what they've gone through as women when they're doing science, and how can the female learners achieve their role in science, and also how to deal with the problem when they're facing them, which is one of the issues we are inspiring learners and females learners to follow the STEM, and when we're doing the innovation, the science awareness in these rural areas. The other things we do support the curriculum and all other relevant term experiment which the Department of Basics Education gives for FET, especially looking at grade 10 to 12, where we try by almost to go to school and do their term 1, term 2, term 3 experiment, so that at least they have something to understand. And when they write their science exams, at least they can answer something. But then we try to improve learning, promote civic engagement when we do work with community, strengths the communities through addressing their societal needs. And as a center, as I've already said, it's a platform for human researchers to interact with communities on different research activities. And we believe that as an outreach program create a partnership between the communities and the educational institute. And I can say, apart from the science centers, we at the university, we have also engagement with different communities where there are MOU developed with communities, so that at least when, as a science center, we are engaging the learners, the university itself is also engaging the community. Then the question is, how do we engage them? And the answer is, we engage them through different workshops with our collaborators. support school with experiment, outreach, and in-house, where we go to schools and where sometimes the school comes to us. Since I've said we are in the rural areas, we are doing this service free. It's like you call us, we come if we are available, but we are almost really working hard because most of the days, or like all the days of the week, we have either schools coming to us or we are going to schools. And we engage through science exhibition, celebration of National Science Week. We do, as a center, teachers upgrading, which then what we're saying on teachers upgrading, we're saying at least after engaging learners, we can also engage the educators themselves to understand their problems, so that at least we have people from the South Africa Institute of Physics coming on board, helping them on content, helping them on teaching skills, so that at least they can transfer their skills back to the learners. And our main aim is that all the learners can at least have a good pass rate at the end of their grade 12 exams. And then we engage through Science Expo in partnership with the Science, the ESCOM Science Expo, which then we do engage with the Venda district to assist them and train more of the learners, at least when they go to national to compete with other learners, we assist them. And we have seen this working for us, because there were several learners before COVID pandemics who even went from national to international, which were also coming from the Venda district, which we are assisting learners there. We assist on Astro Quiz. Sometimes we do the early childhood development workshops with the educators, so that at least they can impart some of the knowledge of science from the 0 levels to R levels, where we're starting from 3 years to 6 years to show some of the sciences. Then we do science rallies, women in science, motivational talks, and career exhibition. And then we do the public awareness. But then the center has few of the things. We have an exhibit halls and a computer lab, where that's where we do little bit of coding, little bit of robotics, with collaboration with Nelson Mandela and UNISA, because at least at the center we are really not doing any coding and robotics, but when we have learners, we call them, and then we engage learners with those people, so that at least they understand some of the coding. And the exhibition room is where there are different science ideas, where we have life sciences, chemistry, astronomy, all other science related exhibits, so that at least learners can understand something when they visit the center. Apart from those, we have outdoor exhibits where we have weather station and solar PV systems, where on the weather station, we are trying to do awareness on climate change, show learners on how the temperatures varies from month to month, from year to years, and also looking at the renewable energy. We do have the PV system, where we are indicating the importance of using PV rather than using the coal as supply of electricity. We have the 5 kilowatt plant, which generate power to the center. And then we have the Educoverent Tower, which is one of the tower also, which we do climate change awareness, looking at the carbon exchange done by people, few of the animal around the Vuwani Science area, and other things which contribute to carbon. And then we show learners the carbon variance, what is happening day to day. And sometimes we compare and show these to what is happening at Kruger, because there's another tower, the Edcoverent Tower at Kruger, which is just monitoring what animals are contributing to the carbon. But this is how we engage learners. As I said, we have collaboration with different universities, different science centers, and they really try by all means to come to far north and engage the rural learners there. And this is one of the events we did this year in collaboration with Nelson Mandela University. The first top pictures, we're engaging learners on the far north, towards the border to Musina, the last Venda district there. And then on the western side also, we went. Then the role there was to engage learners on careers in science, engage learners on careers in agriculture, because the Nelson Mandela is the agriculture college. And we were lucky also to find one of the school where they are doing the agriculture economy. And as they have the first cohort of grade 12 learners, the Nelson Mandela people engage with them for the career, and also telling them they can go down there and do their career in agriculture, which is this awareness of STEM in different fields was also achieved. And apart from the Nelson Mandela people, we were having the UNISA with robotics, we're having ARC, we're having SANSA, and this was part of a bigger team engagement, which we do year by year to try and contribute to STEM awareness in the rural areas. And we also have engagement with two of science centers in Mpumalanga, the Penridge Science Center, the Inkomazi Mathematics Science Center, where we go down there and also engage learners together with those science centers, at least so that at least when we are more science centers, or when we are many, we can engage lots of learners, because our main aim as Vuwani is to engage more in the rural areas. This is how we continue doing this learners support. We have, like I said, the Women in Science, which I will also still show the pictures below. We do that. We have some MSc students in physics, those who are doing data science, and those who are doing mathematics. We engage them, go with them, especially the female ones, to say, let's go with you so that you can talk to the learners, so that at least we can have more female learners in the science. And as I said, that we do support the issue of the term experiments. What we do is to go to the Department of Education, understand in the beginning of the year which experiment they will be doing from term 1, term 2, and term 3. And what we do is to go around, engage with those schools which are doing science, those schools which are inviting us, and those schools which are really coming to the center, so that at least then we engage and impart or have hands-on to some of the learners, at least for them to touch, to have a feeling of the science equipment, so that when they go to the higher education or when they follow their career, then they understand few of those things. Because like what I was saying in the beginning to say, it's a pity to learn that there are still learners who are getting good marks in grade 12 and even go to university, but without touching any lab equipment. This is what we still continue on STEM support. It's one of the experiment in chemistry, which learners were doing in titration, and we still continue to do this with different schools and at different areas. You can see how learners concentrate when some of the Vuwani team are doing these experiments. Like this one is one of the intern who is doing the chemistry experiment. Then, as I said, that we have collaboration with Nelson Mandela. At Nelson Mandela, they've developed this coding, which you can do it online, or even not online. You can even do it under the ground. Like if you look at the picture where the lady is holding the learner's hand, they are squared down there. Those are just part of coding which has been developed at Nelson Mandela. And when we are collaborating, this is part of what we do in the rural to start introducing coding to the learners. And on the other side, it's a UNISA ISET robotic team, which they were also there. And this some of their robots, which they engage rural learners with when we're collaborating with them and when they are supporting our STEM engagement. And this is what we have in-house, where I'm saying we do have exhibits. Apart from the exhibits, we do science shows to really make the awareness to be interactive, to be attractive, so that at least when learners see some of these youngsters doing some of the science show, they feel that also they can do it. And we hope by doing that, we are really getting more of them to be interested on the science, and also telling them to do the careers in science. Then apart from science show, we have exhibitions, and that's where in the far north, we don't even have anywhere where there's telescope or anything. But when learners sometimes hear about this black hole and all this astronomy issues, technologies, they even ask us. But then we have this one of the exhibit as a black hole, when learners, even when they see this, and when they have read and when they have listened to other people talking, then they can relate what the black hole look like. And that's how the exhibitions we have and the exhibition hall we have help learners to try to understand some of the areas and also some of the research which are being happening in the universities and in South Africa and in the world. Then we do like we call social support, where we do the assisting astro quiz, so that at least learners can understand some of the ideas. Our job is just to discuss with them the astronomy issue, let them understand what astronomy is. And when they go to the astro quiz competition, at least when we have the discussion with them, then we have currently in 2022, where some of the learners were awarded, which is Mariadze Primary School. And this, we feel this is what we want. This is what we really say we are supporting learners when we are getting some good results, to see people even going as further as national and coming back with something. And we are talking about rural learners who sometimes they have not even seen a telescope. They are just lucky because in the north we still have clear sky. We can see some of the stars. We can see some of the planets just with our naked eyes, and that's the advantage they have. But going through them, the astronomy issue and everything, that makes them also to get more ideas and understand something, which is why we are saying the awareness of STEM has to continue wherever, whether it's in rural area, it's in urban area, that we are saying that that is assisting more of the people, and it's the future of South Africa if we are engaging these people. I've talked about this, that we do women in science and career guidance. This is some of the workshop we have on women in science. It's only more women talking to female learners, and sometimes we engage also our first years at the university to third year, so to push them at least to continue to do science, which is what is needed in South Africa when we are crying more about pushing more of the women to continue in science. We believe that the STEM opportunities is also one of the issue which talks about economy. And we have seen this when we have different ideas from learners when they presented. And we hope if we continue talking to them, if we continue having more competition, then these learners, or most of the learners, they will now start to understand the issue of sustainability. Like if you see the first pictures, they're talking about the issue of producing biodiesel and making it more available to the community. And the other guys, they're talking about a way of generating electricity without using coal. And this is some of the ideas where learners comes up with, which we are saying, if we continue with STEM awareness, then we will have something based to the economy. Learners will understand that, and also the sustainability of learners, they will understand that. This is what we do with others on careers, where we have the SANSA people, we have the ARC people on the other side, continuing talking about different careers. We have collaboration with other institutions. I've talked about Penrich, Nkomazi, Nelson Mandela, Southern Network, CSIR Energy Center, SANSA, and internationally we have a university at Netherlands on astronomy awareness, and we have the other one, the Thunen Institute from Germany, on agriculture awareness. In summary, I'm saying promotion of science in rural areas still needs a lot of attention. Learners and public at large needs to be engaged until they understand the importance of science in their village. Awareness on the sustainability of food, water, energy still need attention, especially in rural areas. I would like to acknowledge the University of Venda, Vuwani Science Resource Team, Department of Science and Innovation, South Africa Agents of Science and Technology Advancement, and thank you very much for listening.